Did you know that Light is one of the characters heavily studied in psychology classes as a brilliant example of a complex personality? However, it is not for being a strategic genius, which is surprising, but for his narcissistic tendencies. According to the Death Note fandom wiki, Light has an IQ of about 210. So what exactly makes Light a compelling character for personality analysis? The story of Death Note introduces us to one of the most complex and polarizing characters in anime history, Light Yagami. Armed with the Death Note, Light embarks on a self-proclaimed crusade to create a utopia free from crime. But beneath his righteous facade lies a troubling question. Is he truly fighting for justice, or does hubris consume him?
I am justice!
Light is introduced as a brilliant, ambitious, and disciplined young man. On the surface, he seems perfect, top of his class, admired by his peers, and with a promising future. But beneath that, Light feels trapped in a world he views as inherently flawed, rife with corruption and crime. He's disillusioned with the justice system, which he believes is failing society. This dissatisfaction is crucial. It's what primes him to embrace the Death Note when it falls into his hands. Light isn't drawn to power out of greed, at least not initially. He's driven by the belief that the world is broken and that only someone like him can fix it. So what is justice to him? Light's philosophy of justice is rooted in the concept of utilitarianism, the idea that the greatest good for the greatest number justifies the means. By eliminating criminals, he believes he's reducing suffering and creating a safer, more harmonious world. But Light's justice isn't as pure as it seems. It's absolute, unforgiving, and devoid of empathy. He views criminals as irredeemable and believes their deaths are a necessary sacrifice for the greater good. He has a strong sense of black and white approach to the system. This black and white morality is seductive because of its simplicity, but it raises troubling questions. Who decides what is just? What happens when the executioner makes a mistake, or worse, abuses their power? In the anime, the Death Note itself is more than a plot device. It's a metaphor for power, absolute power. It grants Light the ability to decide who lives and dies, placing him above the laws of man. But with this power comes an inevitable question. Can anyone wield it without becoming corrupted? At first, Light uses the Death Note with a clear purpose, but over time, the line between justice and self-interest begins to blur. He starts eliminating not just criminals, but anyone who stands in his way. The Death Note doesn't corrupt Light outright. It amplifies the flaws and desires that were already within him. It's a chilling reminder that power doesn't change people, it reveals them.
This is my perfect victory! That's right! I win!
Light's hubris is perhaps his most defining trait. As Kira, he doesn't just see himself as a vigilante, but as a god. This god complex is rooted in his belief that he alone is capable of making the world a better place. He dismisses the idea that others might have different, equally valid perspectives on justice. This hubris blinds Light to his humanity. He becomes increasingly ruthless, sacrificing those closest to him and rationalizing every immoral act as necessary for the greater good. In his mind, he's infallible, but his hubris ultimately becomes his greatest weakness. The battle between Light and L is more than a game of cat and mouse. It's a philosophical clash. L represents a form of justice that is impartial, investigative, and based on evidence. Unlike Light, L doesn't presume to play God. He seeks to uncover the truth and hold even the most powerful accountable. Their rivalry forces us to question which form of justice is more effective: Light's authoritarian approach, which prioritizes results over process, or L's methodical pursuit of truth and fairness. The answer isn't simple, and that's what makes Death Note so compelling. As Light's ambition grows, so does the cost of his actions. He manipulates and sacrifices those who trust him, from Naomi Misora to Misa Amane. Even his own father, a man dedicated to justice, becomes a pawn in his game. Light's hubris isolates him, leaving him surrounded only by fear and deception. This isolation is key to his downfall. By the time his plans begin to unravel, Light has no one left to turn to. His quest for a perfect world has made him the very thing he set out to destroy, a tyrant who values power over people. Light Yagami's story isn't just a tale of power and corruption. It's a mirror. It forces us to reflect on our own beliefs about justice, morality, and the nature of power. Is Light a hero who lost his way, or was he a villain all along? Ultimately, Light's downfall is a reminder of a timeless truth. Justice cannot exist without humility, empathy, and accountability. His hubris consumed him, turning a brilliant idealist into a cautionary tale. And that's why his story remains one of the most thought-provoking explorations of morality in anime history. I'm the Lore Keeper, and this has been an exploration of the philosophy of Light Yagami. If you've enjoyed this dive into the deeper themes, don't forget to hit subscribe and join me for more anime analysis. Until next time, stay curious.